Hi there, this is Cam with another video. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about Task Manager. I'm sure you've heard of it and have seen it, but do you know how to use it? Do you know how to read all the different information that's in there? That's what I'm going to show you today. Task Manager is a program that's built into Windows. It shows what's running on your computer and gives you some control over those running tasks. So if your computer is locked up, a program is locked up, or if it's just running really slow, you can use Task Manager to figure out what's going on and maybe even fix the problem. So there's a few different ways you can get to Task Manager. You can hit Control-Alt-Delete and it'll be the bottom choice. That brings you to Task Manager here. Oops. Sorry. So did you see how I did that? Let's do it again. Control-Alt-Delete, Task Manager. So if it's like this, you click on More Details and that gives you the full Task Manager. You can also get to it by right-clicking on the taskbar and choosing Task Manager. Takes you to the same place. You can also get there by going Control and Shift and Escape all together. And that takes you to Task Manager. It's let me see here, I want to show you so you can see the whole page. All right. So this is Task Manager. It opens up in the Processes tab, and you can see it shows percentages and how much memory everything's using, how much disk, how much network, graphics processor, the power. Anyways, I'm going to go through real quick and kind of explain what everything is. So right now, the first thing I want you to do though is go to Options and click this little area right here. It says Always on Top. That's really important because that will make this Task Manager window always open up on top of any other windows. So if you're playing a game and it locks up, and you press Control-Shift-Escape to bring up Task Manager, if it comes up behind the game, you won't see it and you won't be able to use it. So this makes it so Task Manager always shows up the top level. So you can always, whatever's locked up will be behind it, so you can get to it. So there we go. So let's go through this and I'll show you what everything is. So down these rows here, this is all the stuff that's open on the computer. A lot of things are running, and I really only have very few programs running. A lot of it's in the background, but it's all important. So I'm going to show you what each one of these means. So the CPU, that's the processor in the computer. This is the power of your computer that's used to open and run programs. If it's really high, like if this was like at 90% or something like that, that could be a problem. That would slow things down. Video games and any video editing software will probably, this would be a little high if you're running those because they take a lot of processor power. So this is memory. This is your RAM. This is memory that temporarily is used to run programs. The more RAM you have, the better your program will run. If you don't have enough RAM, you may lock up. So if this is always, you have to know how much RAM you have, but if it's using a lot of it, like Dropbox is using 280 megs, that's kind of a lot. Here, my active presenter, that's what I'm using for the video, that's using it. So that kind of tells you how much memory. I'm only using 11%, so we're okay. So then here's the disk. This is the read-write usage of the hard drive. Some drives are faster than others. Some I'm doing good here. I have very low usage of everything, but if these numbers are high, then you want to go through the list and figure out what's bringing the number up. The network is the ability of the computer to send data over the network and the internet. The bandwidth you have is usually more than what your computer can send, so this is not usually an issue. GPU is the graphics card. It will probably only be pegged if you're playing a high-end video game, or if you don't have a external video card and you're using the onboard video. If you have a bunch of games going, this will be high, even if they're not fancy games. So here's power usage. This is from the power supply, very low. That's not usually an issue, so don't worry about that. So then our next tab over is a performance tab. Down the side, it has pretty much all the same things. You've got your CPU, your RAM, your drives. I have 2 hard drives here. This is your Ethernet, the graphics cards. So I'm doing pretty good. All my stuff is really low. This allows you to monitor the utilization live, so you can actually watch it as it's pegging or staying low or whatever, so you can kind of see what's going on. App history. This is the amount of time the particular program has been open on your computer since this date. So right now it has since 9/28. That's how, so this has been, Microsoft Edge has been open for 4 minutes. So anyways, yeah, that's interesting. If you have something that's been open for a really long time and it's not something you use, it could be stuck open in the background or something. So you'd want to investigate that. Okay, so here's your startup. The more items that you have in startup that are enabled, the longer it's going to take for your computer to come up. You don't want to just arbitrarily disable everything, but if you're not using it, definitely disable it. Like I've disabled OneDrive and Teams and Skype because I'm not using those and I don't intend to use them, so they can be disabled in startup. It doesn't mean the program won't work. It just means it's not going to load during the startup process. If I went and double-clicked on Skype right now, it would work just fine. It's just not loading in the startup process. If there's something on here you don't know what it is, don't turn it off because it could be important. Okay, so then our next tab is users. It shows who's logged in, just me. If you had somebody else logged in and there's, you could tell their stats here. If they could have something running that was using a bunch of CPU or your RAM, and you might want to just ask them to log off to clear that up for you so you have more. Okay, so then here's details. Details is just all the background stuff that are, all the processes that are running. Don't disable anything unless you know exactly what it is and there's a reason for it. Just don't mess with it. It's interesting to look at, but it's not very useful. And then here's services. This is the more stuff in the background. The stuff in the details is actual programs also, not just the background. I think the services is pretty much all stuff in the background. Anyways, don't mess with it. Interesting to look at, but don't mess up. So if you have a program that is locked up and you see it here, you can right mouse click and click on End Task. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to close out Excel. But if there's, let's say you're in Excel and you're typing and it just stops responding, your mouse won't work, your keyboard won't work, you can't close the program, that's when you want to open up Task Manager and close it. I found out something today which I didn't know, but if Task Manager freezes, I've never seen that happen, but it doesn't mean it can't. You can open up another Task Manager. So you would just hit Control-Shift-Escape again, and the one, let's say this one was locked up, the other one would try to figure out what was going on and determine why this other one locked up, and it would open another task manager where you could either close this one or it would override this one. I haven't played with that personally. Like I said, I just found that out. I found it quite interesting. So yeah, let's see. And I also found out today that task manager may not have all this information. If your computer is struggling and there's no memory left, and let's say you're using all your CPU power, it will load just enough information on here to enable you to close out the faulty programs. So if you open this up and you notice that all this stuff is missing, it's because your computer is lacking resources. So you need to investigate what to do to fix that. So yeah, so this is pretty much how Task Manager works. It's a really powerful program, and it's great for troubleshooting. I glance at it every time someone complains that something is running really slow, or if something keeps crashing. Just try to see what's actually causing the problem. Is it the CPU? Is it your RAM? Running out of disk space? Is it the graphics card? You can tell a lot by looking in here. So you should play with it a little bit, look around, get comfortable, and I think you'll find it useful. So once again, the three ways to get to it. One was Control-Alt-Delete, and then you choose Task Manager. Right mouse click on the taskbar down here where there's not an icon, and click it there. Or anywhere at any time you hit Control, Shift, and Escape. And it'll come up. I already have it up, obviously, so it's not going to bring me another one. So thanks for listening. I hope this was helpful.